This show is part of One Place, a daily network of focused briefings across the stories people follow most.
Welcome to our daily roundup. We have a packed episode today covering everything from medical breakthroughs to the complex social dynamics that shape our lives. Let's get right into the headlines.
A new pill reduces bad cholesterol by 60%.
One man questions why he always initiates with friends.
Parental acceptance speeds up adolescent brain development significantly.
Swapping animal fats for vegetable oils lowers dementia risk.
Severe menstrual pain impacts cognitive and daily functioning levels.
New AI tool predicts cancer spread with high accuracy.
Rising insurance premiums force families to make tough choices.
Antibiotics found in river fish spark food safety fears.
Political ideology influences views on wartime civilian casualties.
Intelligence predicts progressive views only after attending college.
Starting with heart health.
A major clinical trial has revealed that an experimental pill called enlicitide can reduce LDL cholesterol by about 60%. This is a massive deal because it matches the effectiveness of current injectable therapies but in a much more convenient oral form. For many patients, the requirement of regular injections is a significant barrier to staying on their treatment plan. Dr. Anne-Marie Navarre from UT Southwestern Medical Center notes that fewer than half of patients with cardiovascular disease currently reach their cholesterol goals, so this could be a total game changer for preventing heart attacks.
The science behind this pill actually builds on Nobel Prize-winning research conducted decades ago at UT Southwestern. Scientists originally identified the LDL receptor on liver cells, which is responsible for pulling bad cholesterol out of the blood. While statins have been the gold standard for years, many people still struggle to reach safe levels even on high doses. If the FDA approves enlicitide, it would provide a powerful new tool for doctors to help those who are at high risk for stroke or heart disease but haven't found success with traditional oral medications alone.
Moving to social connections.
A reader recently reached out to advice columnist Annalisa Barbieri with a relatable struggle. He noticed that while his friends seem happy to see him, he is always the one who has to initiate the plans. If he doesn't reach out, months go by without a single text or check-in. This man, who is in his 50s and recently went through a long-term breakup, began to wonder if these friendships were even worth the effort. It is a common feeling of being undervalued when the social labor feels entirely one-sided, leading to a sense of isolation.
The response from psychotherapist Gabrielle Rifkind offers a helpful reframe. Instead of seeing it as a lack of value, she suggests that the person who initiates is often simply better resourced or more confident in organizing. Some people are naturally passive or may already have established networks that make them less proactive. Rifkind notes that if people consistently say yes to your invitations, they likely do enjoy your company. However, it is also important to recognize that as a single man befriending women, there might be subtle social dynamics or hesitations at play regarding who should take the lead.
Next, adolescent brain development.
New data from the Adolescent Brain Cognitive Development Study shows a fascinating link between parenting and brain structure. Researchers found that children between 9 and 13 who feel accepted by their parents show an accelerated pace of cortical thinning. While thinning might sound bad, it is actually a sign of healthy maturation where the brain prunes away redundant connections to become more efficient. This process helps the brain transition into more complex thinking and better impulse control. It suggests that a supportive home environment literally helps the brain reach its adult form more effectively during these critical years.
On the flip side, the study found that children exposed to household abuse or trauma showed slower microstructural development. This delay can impact the prefrontal cortex, which is the area responsible for decision-making and planning. The researchers used advanced imaging to look at the ratio of different brain tissues and found that resilience to trauma also played a role in how quickly these neural circuits matured. It highlights just how sensitive the developing brain is to the emotional climate of the home, emphasizing that parental acceptance is a key biological driver for a child's cognitive growth and future stability.
Now, diet and dementia.
A long-term study published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition suggests that what you eat today could protect your brain decades from now. Researchers analyzed nearly 6,000 older adults and found that swapping animal-based saturated fats for vegetable oils is linked to a lower risk of dementia. The brain is largely composed of fatty tissue, and it needs specific types of fats to maintain cellular membranes and manage inflammation. By using an isocaloric substitution model, the team proved that it isn't just about total calories, but specifically the source of those fats that influences long-term cognitive health.
This research is particularly important because there is currently no cure for dementia, making lifestyle modifications our best line of defense. The study, led by teams from Zhejiang University and collaborators in the US and Denmark, focused on participants who were initially free of cognitive decline. They found that even small shifts in dietary habits, like choosing plant-based oils over butter or lard, could help preserve memory and reasoning skills as we age. As global dementia cases are expected to rise, these practical dietary strategies offer a simple way for individuals to take control of their neurological future through their daily meals.
Next, focusing on women's health.
Severe menstrual pain, known medically as primary dysmenorrhea, affects much more than just physical comfort. New research indicates that women experiencing these intense cramps also face significant challenges with attention, thinking speed, and self-esteem. The study found that the overproduction of prostaglandins, which cause uterine contractions, can lead to systemic symptoms like fatigue and nausea that impair daily functioning. Many young women report feeling like they can't focus or don't feel like themselves during their cycle. And this study confirms that these cognitive changes are real and measurable, impacting their performance at school and work in a very tangible way.
The researchers recruited young women to track their experiences across a full menstrual cycle, looking at how physical pain interacts with mental skills. They found that the impact on occupational performance, the ability to carry out daily roles, was substantial. This study challenges the idea that menstrual pain is just something to be endured. By documenting the cognitive and emotional toll, the authors hope to bring more attention to the need for better support and recognition of the condition. It is not just a physical cramp. It is a monthly event that can temporarily reshape how a person interacts with the world around them.
Shifting to AI in medicine.
Researchers at the University of Geneva have developed a new AI tool called Mangrove GS that can predict whether a cancer will spread with 80% accuracy. By studying colon tumor cells, the team discovered that metastasis isn't a random occurrence, but follows a specific biological program. They identified gene expression patterns that act as a signature for future spread. This is a massive breakthrough, because metastasis is responsible for the majority of cancer deaths. If doctors can identify which tumors are likely to move to other organs before it actually happens, they can tailor treatments much more aggressively for those specific high-risk patients.
What makes Mangrove GS particularly impressive is its ability to work across multiple cancer types, including breast and lung cancers. The lead researcher, Ariel Ruiz Ayaltaba, explains that cancer should be viewed as a distorted form of development where old biological programs are accidentally reactivated. The AI tool essentially decodes these distorted signals to provide a reliable risk estimate. This could transform oncology by helping clinicians decide who truly needs chemotherapy and who might be safe with less invasive options. It moves us closer to a future of truly personalized medicine, where we can stop cancer in its tracks before it spreads.
Now, the cost of care.
For many American families, the cost of health insurance has reached a breaking point. Take Parveen Vohra and Ken Warner, a self-employed couple in Connecticut who saw their monthly premiums jump from $600 to over $2,500 this year. This massive spike occurred after federal subsidies for the Affordable Care Act expired. For them, the monthly insurance bill is now higher than a typical mortgage payment. They have already had to wipe out retirement accounts to cover past medical surgeries, and now they are facing a reality where basic coverage is becoming unaffordable, forcing them to make impossible choices between health and financial stability.
This isn't an isolated case. A recent survey by KFF found that while many people are sticking with their marketplace plans, a significant number are downgrading to lower quality coverage or dropping insurance entirely due to the cost. When subsidies vanished, premiums doubled on average for millions of enrollees. Families are cutting back on groceries and other essentials just to keep their health coverage active. Despite some bipartisan efforts in Congress to extend the financial help, those deals have stalled. This leaves millions of self-employed workers and families in a precarious position as they navigate a healthcare system that is increasingly out of their financial reach.
Next, environmental health concerns.
A troubling study from Brazil has found that antibiotics are accumulating in river water and the fish that people eat. Researchers at the University of São Paulo monitored the Piracicaba River and found that during the dry season, when water levels are low, pollution becomes highly concentrated. They even detected a banned antibiotic inside fish sold for food, which raises serious concerns about human exposure and the rise of antibiotic-resistant bacteria. The contamination comes from a mix of treated sewage, agricultural runoff, and pig farming, showing how our pharmaceutical use eventually makes its way back into the food chain through the very water we rely on.
The researchers also tested a common aquatic plant to see if it could help clean the water. While the plant did show promise in removing some chemicals, it had a surprising side effect. It actually changed how the fish absorbed the remaining pollutants. This highlights the complexity of trying to fix environmental damage with nature-based solutions. We can't just plant our way out of the problem without understanding the full ecological impact. The study serves as a wake-up call for better regulation of drug waste and more robust monitoring of our waterways to ensure that the fish on our dinner plates are safe from hidden chemical risks.
Moving to political psychology.
A new series of studies has found a consistent ideological divide in how people view civilian casualties during war. Researchers led by Julia Elid-Strenger found that individuals with conservative views are generally more willing to accept unintended civilian deaths than those with liberal views. This pattern held true across various scenarios, whether the conflict involved real-world adversaries or entirely fictional nations. By framing all scenarios as wars of self-defense, the researchers were able to isolate the participants' views on the actions taken during combat, rather than their feelings on whether the war itself was justified. This suggests a deep-seated psychological difference in how we weigh human life against military goals.
The study used moral foundations theory to explain these differences. It suggests that liberals tend to prioritize individualizing foundations, which focus on protecting individuals from harm and ensuring fairness. In contrast, conservatives often place a higher value on binding foundations, which emphasize group loyalty and authority. These psychological pillars influence how much collateral damage a person is willing to tolerate to protect their own group. Understanding these underlying moral frameworks helps explain why public opinion on international conflicts is so polarized. It isn't just about the specific politics of a region, but about the fundamental ways our brains process morality and group safety during times of crisis.
Finally, intelligence and education.
A new study in the Personality and Social Psychology Bulletin has found that the link between high childhood intelligence and progressive adult views depends heavily on college attendance. While it has long been noted that smarter adults tend to be more socially liberal, this research shows that college acts as a necessary catalyst. Highly intelligent children don't necessarily start out with progressive leanings. Instead, the university environment prompts those with high cognitive abilities to question traditional social hierarchies and norms. It seems that the academic setting provides the tools and exposure needed for these individuals to critically evaluate and eventually move away from conventional societal structures during their 20s.
The researchers suggest that students with stronger cognitive skills are better at internalizing the critical thinking lessons taught by professors. This isn't just about intelligence leading people to college, but about how they process the college experience once they are there. For those who don't attend university, the connection between childhood intelligence and progressive views is much weaker. This highlights the role of the environment in shaping our worldview. It suggests that while we may have an inherent capacity for open-mindedness, it often takes a specific kind of intellectual challenge and social exposure to turn that potential into a lasting shift in political and social attitudes.
That's our roundup for today. Thanks for joining us for these stories.
Be sure to follow us for your next daily briefing. We will see you back here tomorrow with more updates.